So, Baron,
What's up?
it has been a long time coming since our last episode.
It has been.
It's been a minute. You got to get would I say you got a restful break? Because it looked like you were doing a lot.
Yeah, it was not restful. Fortunately, well, I'm not gonna say unfortunately. It was a great time, but I am still a little jet lagged, so still getting back used to that. But yeah, we had a good time. Went skiing out in France, so that was fun.
Yeah, we're kind of like on two different planes right now. Because my body, it feels like 6 a.m. Your body, it probably feels like it's 2 p.m.
Yeah,
So you're
something
probably
like that.
feeling great right now. I'm like, dang, I'm groggy. I'm just moving around, getting up. But
That's
um,
what you think.
yeah,
But yeah, just part of the recovery or not recovery process, just getting back into the swing of things. But
mm,
we're back here. We've got a lot of football to talk about because while we may have break, free agency does not. And yeah, let's just jump straight
right
into it.
into it.
Welcome to the greatest podcast on earth. Nothing agreed. We have a great show for you tonight, so stay tuned and buckle up.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of Nothing Agreed. Back with the boy.
All right.
I don't know. It just feels like that. Back with the boys today. It is. I feel like Baron. We're in the most like. I don't want to say dead spot. We're in one of the biggest dead spots, and that is right after free agency. That's before the NFL draft, and then usually the other dead spot is maybe right before training camp. But even though we have a dead spot, we still have a good amount to talk about because
Yeah.
haven't had an episode for a week and a half. But the first thing I always ask, I know you're jet lagged, but how are you overall doing?
I'm doing good. Got some schoolwork. Immediately hits you in the face. Finishing up senior year, getting ready to graduate. So that's all in good fun. But other than that, yeah, pretty good. I mean, we've been we've been can't complain really. How about you, Brooks? How are you doing?
Um, it's been I don't want to say a struggle, but it's just been very busy. So like, uh, we were talking about it a little bit off the air, but I was like, yeah, it's just been a crazy week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I'm shooting a commercial, like a package for SEC
Ooh,
Network. I had to do
big
broadcasting yesterday.
big guy.
Um, I know. Had a went to the gym, had a lot of meetings, trying to get some new stuff. So it's like it's just the grind. So I was telling Bear, I was like, I didn't get home till like 12 a.m., like midnight, and it was just a very busy day. But it is not as busy as what's happening around the league. I'm not Adam Schefter's phone, so I have no complaints. Um, Bear, I think should we open it up with what you want to talk about? I think we should open it up with your topic, maybe.
Yeah, so basically, we are just going to be doing a free agency catch up. Um, I'm trying to right now find where we left off. What was the last sort of, or what day did we record? Do you remember last?
We recorded all the way back, like I think it was Thursday when we recorded, or
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, and we went way back. So it's
Mm-hmm.
almost been, I think, a week and a half or 2 weeks since we last recorded.
Yeah, so I'm trying to just go through and find all the big names, uh, kind of star or not star, but just like noteworthy mentions that I can think of. I mean, the first one that comes off the top of my head, Eagles signed a new wide receiver three, Hollywood Brown. I don't think I like that for the most part. I mean, he's a good wide receiver three. He's a good deep ball specialist. Um, and yeah, I think he'll be quite serviceable for the role that we signed him to. And if in the unforeseen scenario he becomes a wide receiver too, I think that's someone who would play well with Devontae Smith, more of a deep specialist with a route runner. I think that's something that would be really good. Also, I wanted to mention, because I threw this in our ticker prompt, this was supposed to be part of the intro, but I forgot. A part of our free agency so far, we've had a record-setting amount of trades that's happened so
True.
far. And one of those that happened when we were gone was Jalen Waddle is now on the move to Denver.
Yep.
And a stunning move, I think, for a first and a third round pick. The Dolphins got the picks. Denver acquired Jalen Waddle. And now that's looking like a really scary team. You have a good young running back duo that I think you feel confident in. You pair Bo Nix with an older guy like Courtland Sutton and a younger speedster like Jalen Waddle. I forget who they have at tight end, but I mean, it's all more attractive for someone to show up there. And not to mention, this was a team that had one of the best defenses in the league last year. So if we can retain that, yeah, it might be the team to beat in the AFC West now, if you ask me.
Yeah, Evan Ingram, came from the Jags to the Broncos a couple years ago. He's the tight end one, almost kind of more of a receiving tight end though. So they got a lot of receiving threats for Bo Nix to throw to.
Mm-hmm. Um, Staying in
Here's
that. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
Well,
go ahead, because
do you want to comment on that?
I have a point to make about the Jalen Waddle trade, and I don't think I'm jumping to anything in the future now. But if Jalen Waddle is worth a first round pick, right, and all that kind of stuff, just due to his age and stuff, I just don't see a world where AJ Brown's worth a first round pick. Like am I overthinking this?
Well, um,
I don't think I am.
you're not the one that holds value onto him right now. You're not the one that is viewing the market. Unfortunately, if Jalen Waddle goes for a first and a third, again, I think he's only 2 or 3 years younger than AJ Brown, and by the time the season starts, it'll be closer. Unfortunately, I think this really hammers home Howie Roseman's asking point. I think he stands quite firm on an offer has to start with a first and a second. To me, I'm starting to think that offer starts to look like two firsts. But yeah, so this trade I think has done wonders for just that whole wide receiver market. Because now, I mean, if you take a look at Jalen Waddle in the last 5 years, he's been a serviceable wide receiver number 2, and he goes for that. In the last 5 years, AJ Brown's been a top 5 receiver. So I don't think the age difference for this trade is in team's favor. Again, I think he's only like 2 years younger than him by the time the next season starts. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think any other offers if you want an offer, it has to start with at least a first and a second.
That's disgusting. I just heard that out of your mouth. AJ Brown's not worth a first and a second, dog. That's
Well,
no. That is
his
not
GM
what it is.
his GM thinks so. So
His GM will be retaining him,
yeah,
so there's
again,
nobody that will be offering that.
I don't think his GM wants to trade him, and the only reason he would trade him is if an offer started with a
We,
first and a second.
we've been doing this podcast for a couple of years now. That could be one of the worst trades that's happened since our podcast have started. If AJ Brown goes for two first, it might be.
To me, and again, I'm not a general manager, but when I see a guy like Jalen Waddle go for a first and a third, I'm upping my price to if you want this guy, I better see 2 first round picks on the table. So, but yeah, I think when we started this offseason with the AJ Brown trade, and then we've seen DJ Moore get traded, we've seen Jalen Waddle get traded, we saw Michael Pittman get traded, although that doesn't affect the market at all. But I would say the Jalen Waddle and DJ Moore trades have really been to Howie Roseman's favor because, I mean, you have these guys who are less productive, in some cases older, going for second round picks, firsts and thirds. So yeah, I think when you hold on to a arguably top 5 receiver in the last 3 years, and you look at what the market requires, yeah, I don't think you can entertain an offer unless it starts with a first and a third.
Okay, I mean, I think for a guy who's gonna about to turn 30, and had a down year last year compared to his other years, I think it's kind of hard to give that much compared to a guy who's straight strides in his prime and was a wide receiver one as well last year. So,
Yeah.
just saying.
Well, unfortunately, he is not requested a trade. There's no urgency to move off of him, so unless the right price comes his way, he will be an Eagle in 2026, which is what I think will happen. Again, unless the team comes along with at least a first and a second. But we will stay in the AFC West. Not a big news, but the Chiefs have a backup quarterback now, one that's pretty, I would say, a lot more reliable than what they've had if Patrick Mahomes' injury kind of lingers. So, yeah, Justin Fields is now a Kansas City Chief. And I actually think that's a really good trade because if you look at him, when he was a Steeler, did perfectly fine. The scheme was built for him, in my opinion, and he played very serviceable. I mean, I think a lot of people wanted him to continue playing even when Russell Wilson came back. So you look at his stint on the Jets, that doesn't count because it's the Jets. They don't do anything right for a quarterback. And I think if you look at that sort of the end of the Chicago years when like that last season with DJ Moore, how in the beginning of the year they kind of started to look like they were figuring it out. So I think he's shown flashes to where if you can put him in this offense with this coach and this offensive scheme, I think that'll be a serviceable backup. I don't mind this trade at all.
I mean, I think Gardner Minshew's not a horrible serviceable backup when they had him, but of course he went to Arizona
Mm-hmm.
and probably will be the starter. Um, so I don't mind it all either. I'm just interested in what the playbook's going to look like because Justin Fields doesn't have the arm or the reading of the coverages or the
Mm-hmm.
just he's not Patrick Mahomes as you know. So
Right.
it's going to be a little bit interesting to see. And it's not like he's the same play style either.
Mm-mm.
Mahomes can use legs, but it's not a lot of designed runs. So we're going to see something interesting. I wonder if he becomes kind of a package guy as well. Not just a QB2, but a package guy. Like it's a, you know,
Yeah.
first and goal. They bring in like a running with him.
Yeah, I see
It'd
what you're
be
saying.
interesting. So yeah, I kind of like the trade to be honest.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that, I would say. Real quickly, and then we'll probably stop talking about the Eagles, but re-signed Dallas Goedert as well. That was huge with the dead money cap that was involved. Definitely opens up a lot of cap space. They went out, used that cap space to sign a lot of depth guys, and we still have a good amount left for a significant trade if that needs to be made. Um, Next, you're going to hate to hear this. Giants get some wide receiver help with the signing of Darnell Mooney. Obviously, he's going to go in to be wide receiver 2 next to, what's his name, Malik Neighbors. And I'm actually, again, as a fan of the division rival, I think that's really good for them. I think this really rounds out their offense. I think Darnell Mooney's a serviceable wide receiver too. There's only really upside with this, in my opinion. And if it doesn't work out, I'm sure they're taking a wide receiver at some point in this draft. So we'll see how that works for them. But
I mean, I could honestly care less. You know, I mean, I know some people at the Falcons are somewhat fans of Darnell Mooney, but 10 million a year, 1 year, or 10 mil 1 year,
mm-hmm.
good for them, good for him. But I don't think he was nothing of a game changer really, like not anywhere close to that for the Atlanta Falcons. He was more just kind of there, and he did not have a great year with us. So hopefully he can get the best out of New York. I mean, I got no problem with Darnell Mooney. So get the best out of him. My team sucks. So yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I'm trying to see. Are there any other like big things that happened?
I mean,
I didn't see
not.
this. The Titans are releasing
I-
L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah, I mean, but not really. I mean, Andy Dalton's your Eagles backup now.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Um,
about that. Thank
there's some
God.
small ones, like small signings, but other than those,
Yeah.
those are kind of the biggest
Yeah.
signings that we've missed. It mostly kind of wrapped up, you know,
Yeah.
when you went. I mean, it was kind of that way. I mean, the Commander signed Van Jefferson
Yeah.
and
That's
Diami Brown.
nice.
Um,
Nice. They've also
like
signed some. They've been signing some. What's it called? Some running backs to fill that
we
void.
got back McNichols.
Yeah.
Were you here when we talked about Michael Pittman? I
Yeah.
think you were.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
That was the
mean,
day. First day.
yeah. So that was. It's not really like anything crazy is happening. Free is just kind of wrapping up and getting ready towards the draft season.
Yeah, Connor Hayward has left the Steelers. I know that was a big deal to my Steelers friends.
What a big deal.
C.J. Gardner Johnson went to the Bills.
Like I
Yeah.
said,
Oh, we didn't. Did we talk about these quarterback signings, the vet minimums, or did that happen afterwards?
like what?
Kyler Murray's on the Vikings. Tua Tagovailoa is on the Falcons.
Yeah, we talked about Tua. We knew we had a hint that Kyler was going to go to the Vikings.
Yeah.
Um, that was also my topic. So
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Will Greer got released. Yeah, that looks like that's about all of the major. Oh, Dre Greenlaw's going back to the 49ers. That's a big one, I guess.
Mhm.
Even though he's kind of old, and I'm sure he got released for a reason, but going back to his home team, maybe that will respark some fire and get him going again. Oh yeah, sorry, last Eagles bit, but we re-signed our punter, who's really good. So I'm excited about that.
Proud of you, kid.
Yeah, punters are important. All right, well that's about all that it seems was important that happened there.
Back.
If anything else big pops up, there's some big names to keep a watch for. David Njoku still does not have a team.
He visited the Ravens, which I think would be a pretty good signing as a backup tight end. Imagine that. Imagine Njoku and Mark Andrews' little Uncle 1-2 punch.
Would he be the backup?
For Mark Andrews, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he wants to go somewhere to get starting money, but
Hey, he was visiting.
it's true.
So there's a thing.
But yeah, the draft is about a month away, so teams are looking to fill voids and get ready for the league year. But yeah, that's about all I've got.
Well, I think we should jump into our segment that we were going to continue,
Mm-hmm.
and that is our division ups and downs. And this reflects all the way back to the start of last year. Baron, we can, now that we know,
Mm-hmm.
an up or down could be a free agent signing or loss. Could be. It could be a down for a free agent. It could be an up for a free agent loss. But usually that's not how it goes. Usually it's the other way around. But let's start in the AFC South. And let's start with the worst team in the AFC South. Do you remember who that is?
The Titans.
The Tennessee Titans. Baron, give me an up and down for the Tennessee Titans
Um,
from the start to now.
Obviously, I think your young cornerback Cam Ward had a pretty good year for his rookie year. Obviously, he didn't stand out like say Jackson Dart or didn't get a lot of headlines like Shadur Sanders, but number first overall pick, I think had a pretty decent season, and I think the front office so far has done a pretty good job at putting pieces around him to be competitive next year. I think they're going to target some receiving help in the draft. Obviously, they brought back Calvin Ridley, so that's a vet there that could help and be reliable. But yeah, they addressed defense a lot in free agency, and I think they're looking to build a young offense around their young quarterback. So I think my high for them would be Cam Ward looks good. He looks like he's can have a good career, and it doesn't really look like a bust. I think that was a good draft pick with what you had. The low, I would say, is I would have liked to see them kind of beef up the offensive line. Obviously, when you have a rookie quarterback and you don't have a good offensive line, and he still is able to show flashes behind that bad offensive line, I think that should just tell you to go out and get a good offensive line, because if he can do that with a bad one, imagine what he can do with a good one. So protect your guy. I wish they would have spent a little more money in that area, especially with a guy like Tyler Linderbaum being available. So yeah.
I see what you mean. My up. Again, I try not to steal any ups or kind of say the same up. Um, so I'm not gonna say Cam Ward because I think that's obviously like I'm not saying you're very right. I mean that is the big up for the Tennessee
Same.
Titans. You know what? I'm gonna give my up to somebody else. Um, on the Tennessee Titans. So I thought I would give some love to Alik Io Manor, to the wide receiver who's also a rookie. I think he was like a fourth or fifth round pick. Io Manor was, and um, was kind of Cam Ward's number one receiving option, wide receiver. So you kind of, although he wasn't like 1,000-yard receiver, I think he had like even maybe like 600 or 500 yards. Let's
Mm-hmm.
be honest, for a Tennessee Titans team that was one of the worst teams in football, it's a good glimpse and a good sign that you have a rookie wide receiver that was kind of making moves and making plays. So I'll take that as my up. Um, I was also gonna say, freaking Chimeri Dyke was a great returner. He had like so many like purpose yards, or whatever. It was like something insane like that. But my down for the Tennessee Titans, honestly, I might go their free agency class this year. And that is because they just spent so much money. But I don't think they really got anybody who's a game changer. You know, I really don't think they got anybody's game changer. I wouldn't be surprised if the Tennessee Titans, who won all of 3 games last year, wins one or two more. I don't think they put themselves in a position where they're going to win more than 5 games next year. I think it's going to be the same story, especially for a team that spent so much money. So I, I don't think they win. I don't think they win over 6 games. I'll give them a little lean. I
Okay.
don't think they win over 6 games. Six is their max.
Interesting. I think their free agency class is a lot of upside in it. Scouting department thinks they've found some gems. So yeah, we'll see if those come to shine or not. But what would the next team be? That would be the Indianapolis Colts.
That would good snipe, yeah.
That's not.
Good snipe.
Uh,
Yeah. Just
all right, you can go first this time.
didn't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's hard to. I'm gonna take the easy route here.
Go
Um,
for it. So I let you go first.
I'll say for the win for the Indianapolis Colts was the first half of the season, and I'll say the loss is the second half of the season.
There you
I
go.
mean, um, and I could just say the win for the Indianapolis Colts would be first half Jonathan Taylor and second half Jonathan Taylor too, for their loss. I mean, it was really a tale of two halves this season for the Indianapolis Colts. Whether you credit that and attribute it to the Daniel Jones injury, but they got Daniel Jones back. I think the win is really the Colts can play football pretty well when they get there. But
Yeah.
to me, the loss is the way you finished. I mean, no doubt about it. That's the way that you finished, and then you put yourself in a weird position in the draft, and then you traded away your pick, so you have a first round pick, um, which could easily be your loss. But I want to go first half, second half is my win loss.
Yeah. Well, that was gonna be my loss too, but well, you said it already, but I'll stick with it.
Stick with
The win, I'll say, or high. I want to say Daniel Jones, just because I think you can sign this guy, don't expect much out of him. Comes in, wins your quarterback battle in camp, put him on the field, and you have that electric, amazing start. Um, I would say it's a win, but they did just give him an ungodly amount of money. Unfortunately, you have to pay him that because you feel like you've got your guy. He came in and did what he did for you. It's all part of rewarding players for playing good. That's how you attract people to play for your team. So they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place right there. Obviously, if I was the GM, I'd still kind of give him another prove it deal. Obviously, he was playing very well before he got injured, so he might come back and just be a lot worse. That's kind of what the feeling I get is going to happen. Not saying that he's going to revert back into Giants, but coming off an injury like that, I don't know if he'll be the same player at his age. So I would say that was a high for the season. I don't know how you feel about it going forward. And then my low, like you said, I would probably say it's the Sauce Gardner trade. I don't think, and again, hindsight is 2020, and obviously you made that trade when you thought you were making a playoff push, even a Super Bowl push. But here we are now. You didn't even make the playoffs, and you traded away 2 first-rounders for a cornerback who's good, but I'd argue you could easily get a better cornerback in this year's draft with that draft pick, and then you have a draft pick for next year's draft, which is supposedly the holy grail of NFL drafts in the last decades. So I don't really love that trade at this point in time, especially when I would say Sauce Gardner is probably not even a top 5 cornerback in the league anymore. Arguably, I would still put him in the top 10, but I don't think I'd have him in the top 5. So yeah, that would be my low.
Next, we move on to
The
Houston Texans.
Jaguars. Oh yeah, Texans. You're right.
Texans.
Jaguars hosted the playoff game. Yeah.
Yes.
This will be easy. Cool. So I'm taking the easy ones. You're gonna have to think. So
Okay.
the high is obviously your defense. What was it? I think it was statistically it was best in the league, second best in the league, third best in the league. It was definitely one of those. So that's definitely your high. Obviously, a lot of people will probably die on the hill. It was good enough to get you to the Super Bowl. But that plays into your low, and I'm taking the layup. It's your quarterback. C.J. Stroud looks horrible. I think every year removed from his rookie season, he looks worse and worse. Whether that's you not surrounding him with the proper offensive line help, but I would just say he doesn't look good. And I think this is kind of it for him. I think this season, I think is it his contract? It's either this year or next year is his contract year, or he's eligible for. They can pick up a
Yeah,
player option
option.
or extend him. So yeah, this is kind of it for C.J. Stroud. Obviously next year's or this not this class, but next year's quarterback class apparently is very stacked. So I think if the Texans, he has another stinker. I think the Texans move off of him this season.
My high for the Texans is a little weird, but I'm gonna say that my high for the Texans is next year. What? But you know, to me, with the team that we'll talk about next, I think the Texans are a clear cut favorite for the AFC South. Right? I
Okay.
think they're, in my opinion, the clear cut favorites to win it, or at least make a really good run to win it. You came up short last year, but I think you're the favorites this year. Um, but if I had to pick from this year, if I had to pick a win, I'm I, I'm gonna go a little more specific. You said defense. I'm gonna go your edge rushers, um, especially Will Anderson. You have yourself, you made that trade up for Will Anderson a couple years back, and I think you found yourself like a solidified franchise player in Will Anderson. My low for the Texans, I'm actually gonna go their running back room. Um, You know, I could say the offensive line too. I know you said quarterback. I like that glare, by the way. It is
Yeah,
beautiful.
you see
It
the
is.
sunlight coming in.
It's beautiful. Jesus is walking into the room.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's Jesus. Or we could go up there too.
okay, no, Joel Embiid is not Jesus. I'll tell you that.
For
Um,
sinners, he might be.
no, not
That's a that's a
Nikola
different
Jokic.
that's a
Nikola Jokic.
discussion for a different day.
Yeah, Nikola Jokic is 3 times the player he is.
Oh,
Um,
don't even say that.
the best ability is availability.
Okay,
So,
that's fair. That is
um,
fair.
I will say that the running back room of the Texans was an absolute mess, and that's why I think they traded for David Montgomery, which I'm still not a big fan of. I
No,
will
not
say
at
that on
all.
the record. So I'm gonna go the running back room.
All right. Sorry, I'm just gonna reposition myself a little bit. Yeah. I can't argue with that. I don't know if David Montgomery's the void that's gonna fill it. But we'll see what happens. See how they draft, and yeah, it'll be an interesting season for sure. I don't. I would have to again. I'm not. I wouldn't say that they would be the favorites coming out of it. Because I think they have the biggest disability of any team, which is their quarterback. But I'm certainly a lot more inclined to agree with you now that we're going to move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'll let you go first. So I think this one's pretty
My
easy.
win, my win for the Jags. I'm gonna go with Liam Cohn as my win for the Jags.
That's a good
You
one.
know,
That's a good one.
I think you can easily just say the record and you could say how they performed, but I think you have to give a lot of credit to the head coach.
Yeah.
I think Liam Cohn was really kind of the the gas that made the car move, especially offensively, looked much different. Whoa. And yeah, I'm gonna go with the head coach Liam Cohn. My loss, I can go two different directions here. Um, I'm gonna go with my loss is you're the only higher seed that lost in the playoffs this
Oh,
year.
yeah.
That's what I'm gonna go with my loss as. And I know it's a little tough because they did play a Buffalo Bills side, which was probably one of the Super Bowl favorites coming into the year. But it's a team that did not win the division. It's a team that struggled all year, especially defensively,
Mm.
and even had some struggles that mixed in offensively. And you had a couple times where you could have got there, but you didn't, and you lost a home playoff game. And it was kind of a big, strong up year for such a somber ending. So I'm gonna go with that loss.
Yeah. I would agree with that as well. I think if they had gotten past the Bills, you might have been able to see them in the Super Bowl. Not saying they would beat the Seahawks, but it would have been a lot better game. Um, my high, I'll go with yeah, I think winning your division. I think that was very. I don't think a lot of people really expected that, especially with the Colts starting as hot as they did, with the Texans defense being as good as it was. But yeah, somehow the Liam Cohen Jacksonville Jaguars were able to pull it out somehow. So I would give that as your win. Obviously, that's the second home playoff game of Trevor Lawrence's career, 1-1. So yeah, just getting playoff experience under your quarterback's belt. My low is also going to be pretty easy, and that's easily free agency. We'll start on offense. You've
Yep.
lost your running back one and Travis Etienne, however you say it. And I guess you feel confident in your depth. Obviously, they got rid of Tank Bigsby at the beginning of the season last year. So, who is it? Brayshaw Tootin? Is that running back one? I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
I also am not a huge fan of their plans with Travis Hunter going forward. I don't know if you saw it, but they kind of came out right before free agency started and said, I think we're going to use him more as a cornerback, and then he'll come in on certain receiving packages. I don't like that, especially when you have questions with your wide receiver one in BTS or BTJ, sorry. Obviously, Jacoby Myers is there as well, but I think if you're not confident in your young receiver and Brian Thomas Jr., I'd like to see Travis Hunter be a little more involved there, but again, I'm not in that front office or coaching room. I don't know what's going on. But obviously, staying with free agency, the loss of Devin Lloyd is really going to hurt. That was, in my opinion, your defensive leader, green dot wear, middle linebacker, like quarterback of the defense. So replacing him is going to be very hard, especially with the productivity he had last season as well. So yeah, I'm sure they're going to look into the draft to address that. They didn't really do anything in free agency, in my opinion, that I think is going to match that. So, especially with how much money he signed with the Panthers, which really was not as much as I think a lot of people thought. I think it was money the Jaguars probably could have paid him. So, yeah, I was not a fan of them letting him go.
All right. Well, that wraps up our wins and losses for the AFC South.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably do the NFC South next. We're just bouncing from direction to direction.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wrap it up here. My topic, I am gonna go with the quarterbacks this year, man. The quarterbacks and free agency this year. Wanted to go on a little bit of a rant. I would like to say almost. Um, I think the big winner. I think the Minnesota Vikings to me are the biggest winners of
Yeah.
getting a quarterback, and that's Kyler Murray. Which, Kyler Murray can be up and down, but let's be honest, those Cardinals teams these past couple of years have not been pretty. Um, and Baron, I think I'll be forever giving you credit for the 2025 Minnesota Vikings because they are built to compete and they are built to contend. And JJ McCarthy was not built to contend. And it'll be interesting. I think there's discussions that if Kyler Murray is going to be the backup, and honestly, I don't think he should be. Um, I know you were thinking about developing a quarterback, giving him reps, but I don't think you should make Kyler Murray your backup. That would be stupid in my opinion if he becomes your backup. And yeah, especially because of the wide receiver room that you have, the plays that you can make, what Kyler can do with his feet. I like that. You look at some of the other signings. Tua Tagovailoa, of course, the Falcons we talked about. Baron, what we did not talk about because it came out later. Tua's actually going to be in a quarterback battle with Michael Penix
Mm-hmm.
Jr. If Michael Penix cannot win a quarterback battle against Tua, he's
It's over.
ass.
It's over.
So
Yeah, no,
yeah.
it's over.
Um,
Real quick to your point, I think there's
yep.
also going to be a battle over there in Minnesota. I think they
Yep.
came out and said that, but it is not limited to just JJ McCarthy and Kyler Murray. Carson Wentz will also be in the mix. It'll be his
Yeah.
second year in the system. They felt pretty good with how he played for the most part in the absence of JJ McCarthy last season. I don't know why, but he will be involved with that as well, bringing some veteran experience. Maybe he has a better connection with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. But yeah, it'll be a three-headed race over there in Minnesota as well.
Little gunna action. Not a big fan of the Malik Willis signing for the Dolphins. I just don't think there's many weapons around, but maybe I'm disrespecting.
No,
Um,
well, there's not. I guess who wide receiver one is
exactly. So
Tutu Atwell. Sorry, continue.
good for Tutu, by the way. Good for
No,
Tutu.
I
Um,
love the guy, but no.
yeah, good for him.
I mean,
Good for him.
he's not getting
He
paid wide receiver one money though.
but he's got wide receiver 1 minutes, and then he can
And
start getting paid wide receiver 1 minute.
and again, I like Tutu Atwell as well, but he's a return man for a reason. Anyway, continue.
Um, To me, I think the biggest interesting spot though with quarterback, and it has been for the last 4 years, is still the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh,
And the
perfect.
Steelers are still looking on Aaron Rodgers what his decision is going to be. And if it's not, it's going to be Will Howard. Dog.
No, 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 not
Dog.
quite. Quite, not quite. If Aaron
Who?
Rodgers decides he wants to step away, they're also looking at Kirk Cousins.
Dog. I
It's
don't
okay.
know. Like,
Ty Simpson's gonna get drafted first round by the
well,
Steelers.
so this is my other point, what I wanted to wrap up with.
Yeah.
Field
Sorry.
Yates, who's a very known, well insider for ESPN, I would say I have major respect for Field Yates. I think he's
Hmm.
one of the more clean cut guys in the industry.
Absolutely.
He came out with a mock draft 2 hours ago, so a brand new, fresh 2 round mock, and he has the Arizona Cardinals doing a New York Giants of last year
Oh.
and taking the talented edge off the board, which is Arvell Reese or David Bailey. He has Arvell Reese, and then trading up with the Buffalo Bills at pick 26 and selecting Ty Simpson.
That's assuming the Steelers will pass on him too.
Correct. Steelers in this case draft Ione from Penn State, the guard. I'm pretty sure he's Hawaiian.
Oh God!
Um,
Please don't take him.
no, he's from Washington,
Yeah, don't
but
take him.
close enough. His name is like Olavione Iona.
Yeah, I know.
Fire name, by the
And
way.
I
Or
need him in
Olaviega.
midnight green.
Yeah. Olavavega Ione.
Who's they have us
Um,
taking?
um, the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
What pick do y'all have in the first round?
I don't remember.
Y'all don't have a pick in the first round.
Yes, we do.
Where is it? Oh, 23rd. You're 2 picks after. It had you
Yeah.
taking Omar Cooper Jr.,
Okay.
the wide receiver from Indiana.
Please, God, no.
But I don't mind that pick for the Steelers because their offensive line sucks.
It does,
Um,
but
so yes. However, um, the Steelers are in a bad spot to me, and we're gonna see how it
terrible
goes.
spot.
That's what I want to talk about. The Steelers can do a lot better.
Well, I think when you fire a guy like Mike Tomlin and you then bring in a guy like Mike McCarthy, again, I
It's
think
over.
you're expecting Aaron Rodgers to come back until his
Long
career's
story
over.
short, it's over.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, there's really no but to this. Yeah, what the fuck are we doing? Seriously. You talk about it, the worst place being stuck in the NFL is mediocrity, which is where the Steelers have been for decades. Not good enough to get a franchise-changing pick, but also not good enough, or not bad enough to get a franchise-changing pick, but not good enough to win anything significant. And yeah, we're stuck in constant purgatory. Now, I know they feel very comfortable with Will Howard, kind of taking a year behind Aaron Rodgers, spending some time with that system. So yeah, we are very, very interested to see what the Steelers do. A name I'd like to throw out there, which could definitely see the Steelers doing, is if Ty Simpson if they don't want to take him in the first round and he does get drafted by another team, and they're like, time to pivot. I think another name you really might want to look at is Drew Aller. And I'm not saying that he's good, but I think a lot of teams view him as this class's sort of Josh Allen, where big physical runner, has a lot of physical upside. If you can unlock and teach him how to play quarterback, then he's going to be really good. So that's another name, especially even if Aaron Rodgers comes back, I would watch for the Steelers. But I think that wraps it up. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about quarterbacks.
No, I have one thing. Are we about to like wrap?
No, we're not. We have one more thing,
Oh,
but you
go
can go
ahead.
for it. No, go for it. We have time.
We're gonna make this a whole episode, Baron, but
Okay, put a pin in it.
put a pin in it. DraftKings came out with, I know, gambling, but I think it's good to look at. They came out with their over-unders for wins on the season,
Oh, boy.
right? I think it's always a good thing to look at. Um, if I'm not mistaken, the team that has the most over under wins in terms of the number, and then best odds are, I think, is the Rams, and then the Baltimore Ravens are both at 11.5
Cool.
over under wins.
That's the easiest under I've ever seen
Interesting.
for the Ravens.
Um, I think the freeze under is the Atlanta Falcons over under 7.5. Give me the
Fair
under.
enough. Fair enough.
Um, I
Um,
think that one. We'll do a whole episode on this. Also, the Bears to win 10 games or more plus 100. Kind of like that one as well.
that
So
sounds good.
yeah,
Alrighty. Well, we're switching it up this week. We don't have a Brooks bomb for you. We have a
let's do it,
Barons
Baron.
bomb for you.
All right, kick
And
back, relax.
yeah, sorry, I don't have a little screen for myself yet. But yeah, we're going back to the podcast's roots. For those newer people that are just discovering, we did not used to just be a football channel. We like to think of ourselves as a sports conglomerate channel, even though we only really talked about two things, and the other thing being basketball, and that's where I'd like to bring it today. Obviously, as longtime viewers it's no secret I have a strong distaste for what the NBA is today, and this rant is a part of that, and it's been gaining a lot of traction recently, but Brooks, I'm sure you're familiar with the recently implemented 65 game rule that came out, I think it was a year ago, 2 years ago. And for those who don't know, it basically states that for a player to be eligible for any postseason awards or accolades like All NBA teams, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, they must play 65 games in the regular season. This was a way for Adam Silver to combat superstars sitting back to backs, players resting. It was at an all-time high when this was implemented, and this was a way to combat that at the time. Here we are in 2026, where we are seeing a lot of backlash on that rule because of legitimate reasons. Players are not playing games, like injuries. Obviously, when players get older, they're much more prone to injuries, but this will be the first year in a very long time where LeBron James will not be on an All-NBA team. He is not eligible. Stephen Curry will not be on an All-NBA team. He is not eligible. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I think most people would argue still has a few good years left in him at being a top 3 player in the league, will not get an All-NBA recognition because he is ineligible. And I think the biggest thing for this that just came out recently, it was in the MVP race. And it was pretty tight between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jaylen Brown, and Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham just was diagnosed recently with a collapsed lung and will miss the rest of the season and probably the playoffs. He will no longer be eligible for this MVP award. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize, all right, this is kind of bogus. This is bullshit. Obviously, there should be some measures in place to prevent players resting. I get that. But yeah, I think this rule is starting to backfire on the league. What do you think, Brooks?
I'm a fan of the rule. I don't know if I'm a fan of the number.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, you talk about Giannis not being in it. I think Giannis should not be in it. Giannis has missed way too many games this year to be in it.
Right.
I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think you can play half the season and be considered an all NBA guy, right? I don't think if you're a football player and you're a quarterback and you play 8 games, you should be considered in that running. However, I think it should be 60. I like 60 instead of 65 because
I
to
would
me,
go so far as say 55.
no, I like 75%. I think 75% is a good number. You should play in 3/4 of your team's games in order to be considered really in that level. I think 65 is a little too strict, but I understand why it was implemented, and I like the rule. I think you should have to play games. Um, Now, of course, this is going to get into my little bit of opinion here, but I kind of think the
That's what this is for.
I think the NBA athletes might be the most entitled out of the big 4 major sports.
Oh, easily.
Um, So I think this helps make them play. So play games if you want to be considered. The only one I feel really bad for is Cade Cunningham because of the turnaround from the Pistons, and he has played a massive part in it. So that really sucks to me. But other than that, I like the rule. So I understand your hatred for it because of your center, but I like the rule.
Again, and I'm not saying Joel Embiid deserves anything because of this.
I'm
And
messing with you.
I
Yeah.
know, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he's not a big reason why it was is a thing. But yeah, I think it needs to be lowered. 55, I think seems fair to me because basically, having to play 65 games, you are only allowed to miss 18 games. And I'm just gonna go ahead and give you some names that are very close to not being eligible this year. Nikola Jokic has missed 16 games so far. 3 more or 2 more, and you are not eligible. Danny Advia has also missed 16 games. 2 more, you are not eligible.
Mhm.
Staying with that 16 game theme, Devin Booker missed 2 more. You are not eligible. Evan Mobley has missed 15 games. Victor Wembanyama has missed 15 games. 3 more from the two of them, and you will not be seeing their names on awards either. Kawhi Leonard has missed 15 games. Luka Doncic has missed 12. Cooper Flagg has missed 12, and I think it's unlikely for him to be out for 6 more games. But let's say something crazy happens, that is not your rookie of the year. And again, I don't think anything's going to happen for him to be out 7 games at this point. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has missed 11. Anthony Edwards has missed 11. Obviously, Cade Cunningham is not going to be eligible because he's out indefinitely, but he's missed 7 games so far this season, so he would have been it. Here are the players that are already ineligible, though, for any sort of awards. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jimmy
Yes.
Butler, Stephen
Yes.
Curry, Anthony
Yes.
Davis, Joel
Yes.
Embiid, Josh
Yes.
Giddey, LeBron
Yes.
James, Lowry
Yes.
Markkinen, Ja
Yes.
Morant,
Yeah.
Austin Reeves,
Yeah.
Domantas Sabonis,
Mhm.
Franz Wagner, Jalen Williams, and Trae Young.
I like that. I don't think any of those guys should be eligible for awards. I really
Um,
don't.
you don't think Austin Reeves deserves an All NBA third team?
He's missed too many games where it's been Luca kind of carrying the load. So
Fair.
again,
Again, Luka takes a couple games off, and he's not eligible either.
but this is all we're saying. There's 10 games really left, 10 or 9 games left in the season.
Right.
And so all you're asking is just to play in 7 or 8 of those 10 games. That's all you're really saying. So um, unless something crazy happens, they should be on pace to do that. So yeah, I personally think they're good. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say about
Fair
that.
enough. Yeah. But that would be it. And also with this, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will be your MVP for the second year in a row.
Yes.
No one's catching him at this point.
Yeah. Jokic leads in rebounds and assists too. He's actually the only player over 10.0 assists per game. So in double digits.
And if he
But
misses 2 more games, he is ineligible for
yeah,
anything.
but it will still be Shea because I mean his team is the number one team in the league.
I think
They only-
the only two people that can catch him maybe at this point would be Jaylen Brown. It just
Jalen Brown's such a good shout. I mean, he's been so great this year.
I've been saying it for years, Brooks. He's their best player. But what's it called? And Luka Doncic is fastly shooting up that MVP ladder predictions, most recently because of his recent stint. But I don't think he'll get it because it was too much of a slump in the middle. Anyway, that's all I have in terms of basketball.
The Hawks are officially in the playoff like spots, not in the play-in.
Good, because guess who's in the play-in?
Well, you guys are a game behind us.
Oh, thank God. We're the 6th seed or the 7th
Seven
seed?
seed.
Oh, God. Can we just lose?
If you're the 7, that means you would play the Celtics.
Yeah, we just need to
If
lose.
you're the 8, you play the Pistons.
I don't want to talk about basketball right now, and I don't want the Sixers to lose out. Anyway, that's not going to happen.
Well.
It's not going to happen. We're already 10 games out of.
Well, the play-in,
We're 10 games ahead.
Yeah, the play-in and play-out. The play-in compared to the non-play-in teams, like lower than that, are basically solidified. Like the Hornets have an 8-game gap on the Bucks, and that basically just takes them having to lose out and the Bucks having to win out or change it. The Raptors, the Hawks are a game and a half ahead. So those are really the teams that are play-in bound that could be. Um, but right now the Hawks are leading the Southeast Division.
There
Hey,
you
could be
go.
a division title. So yeah,
Yeah. And when
11
you
straight home wins
next time
for
you see the Sixers, oh shoot, they play in Charlotte on Saturday. We'll see if they're playing. Who all's playing that game?
maybe we should go to
Maybe
that.
we shouldn't. But is there anything else you'd like to add?
That's good for me.
Alrighty.
That'll be another episode. Nothing agreed. Thank you all so much for listening. Ooh.
All
I
right.
try to change it up every
I know,
time.
I know, I know. It's just
Thank you so much for listening.
there you
Who
go.
are y'all's little sneaky free agent signings that you like? And let us know your ups and downs for the South Division. Other than that,
Oh,
thank you for tuning in.
well, I was about to say, what are your thoughts on quarterbacks and the 65 game rule? Do you think it needs to be eliminated or changed?
Let us know if you like 65. If not, it's peace.